You know that there was a large-scale massacre against black soldiers here in the U.S. during World War II? In 1940, 8,000 construction workers built Camp Claiborne, a massive military complex in Louisiana. The camp was a boomtown, once home to 500,000 people. While the U.S. prepared men to fight abroad, for many black soldiers, the fight began at home. On January 10th, 1942, barely a month after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, black soldiers visited Alexandria, the closest city. Some 3,000 black Americans were enjoying Lee Street, named after Robert E. Lee, in an area dubbed Little Harlem. Chaos ensued when a white woman accused a black soldier of walking in front of her car. A white MP then fired at a black soldier. Many black soldiers started protesting because of this incident. Black soldiers were unarmed because they were not allowed to leave the camp with weapons. White soldiers and local police had an arsenal and began firing indiscriminately at black soldiers and civilians. They even deployed tear gas. Although black soldiers were the victims, military commanders blamed them and exonerated white officers. No one was ever arrested. Local newspapers praised the military. One newspaper claimed that no one died and highlighted that a white state trooper suffered a hand injury while attacking a black soldier. Although the military said no one was killed, multiple eyewitnesses confirm otherwise. The Afro-American, a black-owned newspaper, launched its own investigation and confirmed deaths that were corroborated by white officers. The entire area was quickly cordoned off, and Alexandria became off-limits to black soldiers. Lee Street and Little Harlem would never regain its former status. The history was kept alive by the Buffalo Soldiers Motorcycle Club, one of the largest black biker organizations in the country. They place a wreath every Memorial Day to honor the victims. And this history is still being unraveled. Dr. William Simpson, a local historian, received an extremely detailed anonymous letter with the location of a mass grave. Excavation of the site is now underway. The military has never acknowledged the massacre. Camp Claiborne was deserted in 1946, the Ritz Theater was demolished, and Lee Street remains neglected. There isn't even a Wikipedia page for this massacre. One survivor summed it up this way: whenever anybody says remember Pearl Harbor, I will say remember Lee Street.
Little known history.
Reason 5001 why CRT needs to be taught in American schools. You see, this is information that most children and most people will never hear about. And the reason why they won't hear about it because people feel embarrassed about the stain on America's history. Instead of trying to hide the stain, like how somebody may do, oh, you got a stain on your carpet, so I'm going to put some furniture on top of it so that nobody will see it. And now everybody can just come in and enjoy themselves in the room. There's this stain, and you know it's there. Everybody knows that there's a stain. Why not just deal with the stain instead of trying to cover it up? You want to know why black people still have issues that you paid reparations to the Japanese that you put in internment camps? You gave reparations to the Jews who came from the Holocaust and they weren't even in America, but you gave them reparations. You had projects to allow German war criminals to come in as long as they were a benefit to America. You wonder why we have a problem with American society? Native indigenous people get land, run their own country inside of America to a certain extent. But those whose ancestors built this country participate, not because I don't want to take away from anybody's contribution, who participated heavily, greatly, overwhelmingly in the building of this country. And yet we've suffered and told to wait, suffered and told to wait. Then suffered and told to forget, suffered and told to forget. Now suffering and questioned, why aren't you there yet? What's your problem? Why are you still struggling? You had the opportunity. You do realize civil rights, it's only, about 60, not even almost 60 years old, since black people can actually have the freedom to vote properly. Since we can move wherever we want to move, live where we want to live, shop where we want to shop. We still face glass ceilings. We still face redlining. We still face lower school systems. We still face many of the challenges that our ancestors faced 60 plus years ago. And yet you wonder why we still have a problem. The fact that you would cover something like this up, the fact that you will not even recognize it, that's the problem. CRT is good because it recognizes the problem. And if after you recognize the problem, only then can you find the solution. Because as long as you say there is no problem, then no solution can ever be found. Ask anybody who's been through AA. From my understanding, the first thing they have to do is recognize that there's a problem. Because all the other steps mean nothing without the recognition that there is a problem. In America, you still got a problem that you're unwilling to recognize. And this is why there's still so much tension in this country. But hey, who am I? Just a guy who served in the Marine Corps, read a lot of books, lived in America, lived in other countries, and know that there are plenty of other countries where it's freedom for a black man. And for all those who are going to come in here and say, well, leave then. As soon as I handle some things, yeah, damn right I'm leaving. Y'all have a great day. And remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself. Because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.